So let us start with a recap of what has been covered in this course so far. We started with this overview of how corporate finance works, these different flow of money from investors to the company, company to the real assets, and then backwards. We also understood that one of the requirements for the corporate finance to work is that the information is disclosed to the investors in a timely manner. Now, financial reporting is the tool that is available for this disclosure. The format and periodicity and the information content in the financial reporting is quite rigid and it follows a certain set of rules. In contrast, the cost and management accounting that is another set of information that is maintained is meant for the internal stakeholders and it does not necessarily follow a rigid set of rules and formats. This is one representation of cost information in the form of a budget. This is a standard budget. The actual performance may not be the same as what is mentioned in this slide. And the breakup of costs doesn't have to follow this format. We also saw that cost can be divided into fixed and variable. That is on the basis of their relationships with output. The other basis we know is on the basis of traceability into direct and indirect costs. Now let us turn to some more ways in which cost can be described. Now out of the terms that we are going to talk about, some of them have origin in economics and the others have their origin in accounting. Let us start with this item called as sunk cost. And to understand this, let us take an example, which was a real world example, happened to my friend by name Sneh Jain, who is into the bakery business. He runs a startup called as the Baker's Dozen, mainly out of Mumbai. But recently he was thinking of branching out to a new city, and they had got into an agreement with a landlord, taken possession of the new place where they would set up this shop. They had already spent a couple of months on renovating the place and modeling the place to suit their needs, spending a little bit on marketing so that people get aware of this new outlet, and then maybe after spending about 2-3 lakhs on this, they realized that they are finding it difficult to work with the landlord. Probably the landlord was creating some nuisances such as not giving permissions or wanted them to vacate or renegotiating the deal. So whatever was the case, they now were considering an option to completely move out of the existing location and invest into a new location. So now let us say already they have spent 2 lakh rupees on the current business or current place. They will need to spend another 3 lakhs before the shop is up and running. Now let us say that they have an alternative to switch to a new location which costs about 4 lakhs. So we have now 2 alternatives. One is move to a new place, spend 4 lakhs and start the business, or continue with the existing, spend another 3 lakhs, already you have spent 2 lakhs, and then start the sales or inaugurate the shop. So which is a better option? Take a moment to pause and think about it and see which makes sense. So if you look deeply, there are actually 3 options. One, depending on whether you consider the already invested 2 lakhs or not. So in the existing location, either I consider my investment, so that will be 2 lakhs plus another 3 lakhs and the total cost is 5 lakhs, or I ignore the previous investment and see that my new investment is going to be 3 lakhs. So that is option number 2, and option number 3 will be a new investment into a new location for 4 lakhs. Now, before you give your answer, I would like you to also think that the investment of 2 lakhs, can it be recovered? Most of it has gone into remodeling the existing premises into maybe painting or creating some branding, or I also mentioned about advertising. So these are things which you cannot remove from the existing business and place into the new business. These are not like your gas stoves or utensils and other equipment or some movable furniture which you can take and use into the new place also. So for the sake of this argument, let us say that the entire 2 lakhs has gone into things which you cannot recover. So either you will have to keep using them in the existing business, existing location, or completely forget about it. So that is the classic sunk cost argument about. So after you have come to a conclusion, you can continue watching the rest of the video. Now, if you thought that the sunk cost is something which has to be forgotten completely, then you are right. In fact, most businesses and most managers, since we are human beings, we tend to remain stuck with this baggage, emotional baggage, that we have worked so hard on this. How can we simply forget it or think that it has sunk? But what rational theories tell us are that we need to look forward. So what is to be considered while decision making is future differential costs. So all the investments that are going to happen in future, differential meaning they are different between your two options. If, for example, I need to hire the chef and other staff in both the locations, then that is not a differential cost. That cannot be used in deciding which one is a better option. So I need to see whether it is a differential cost. So the differential cost in this case is 3 lakhs in the old option and 4 lakhs in the new option. So my option number 1 is better still because it requires an additional investment of rupees 3 lakh only, whereas the new premises will require an additional investment of 4 lakhs. So this is where I somewhat disagree with my friend's LinkedIn post, which you can look at in the link provided, that although he may want to move out of the current premises, he needs to see what is the total future outlay going to be. Now, if because of the attitude of the landlord, if the future costs are going to be more than 3 lakhs and more than 4 lakhs, then probably it makes sense to let go of this place, but not otherwise. So that's the key takeaway from this. And many managers, and this applies to several large businesses, people keep throwing good money after bad because they have remained invested in, they have invested so much of money in this particular business for so many years, and now they would not want to get out of that. So this is something which, as future managers, you need to be aware of, that you need not keep running legacy projects just because there has been a lot of investment that has happened to this. If time is right, it is probably good idea to stop that project and do something new. Next, let us look at this concept of marginal cost, which you might have already understood from your economics classes. I will just give a small example to illustrate the point and make sure that you have understood it correctly. So if you are say an automobile plant and you are producing about 500 cars in a day. So the plant is already there. You have your tie-ups with different suppliers of raw materials and components and so on. You have your employees who are all of them are permanent employees, and everything is set. The plant is running. Now, what marginal cost means is cost. So what this cost would be? Take a moment to pause and reflect and then return. So this extra cost to make one extra car is basically what I will need to spend on to get all my inputs that will be needed to make the car. So usually all the raw materials and all the components. And plus I will also need to procure some inputs such as the electricity or any other consumables. So all these raw materials, components, consumables, and electricity and other utilities, these are my additional expenses that I need to do to make one car. Remember, I am not including employee salaries because these are all permanent employees which I don't need to go and procure. So the cost involved in making one extra car is my marginal cost, which will in this case would be mostly on account of the material that I need to source. Now this will not be the same as the total cost of the car, because I need to recover all my expenses that I had incurred in setting up the plant and all that. Now let us say this amount is about 3 lakh rupees for a car that costs maybe 10 lakhs. Right? Now, and I already said that the capacity of the plant is 500. Now this marginal cost is valid up until I make 499 or 500 units in a day. If I have to make that one extra unit, say I want to make 501 units, then my existing plant is not sufficient. So I will need to either start a new shift, that means spend some more on employees, and then I'll be able to produce, or sometimes I may just have to start a new plant. So the marginal cost of making that 501st car is not 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs or even 10 lakhs. It's probably in thousands of crores because I have to set up the whole plant. So that is what the concept of marginal cost entails. It's not a linear function, but yes, during my relevant range I may have a certain amount, but I need to keep in mind that when I am reaching capacity, my marginal cost is no longer valid. My marginal cost is now cost of setting up the new plant, and after the plant is set up, then cost of making the 502nd car is again back to maybe 3 lakhs or maybe even less than 3 lakhs, because now my new plant may be more efficient than my old plant. So this is the concept of marginal cost in a nutshell. Now we look at one more concept coming from economics called as opportunity cost, and you would be familiar with this, but just for the sake of completeness and to trigger any doubts that you may have. So opportunity cost is something which it's a notional amount, but it is a cost of opportunity foregone. So let us say you want to invest into a share market, and you have identified a good company and you are planning to put some 20,000 rupees into that company. Now the opportunity cost here is that I have only one set of 20,000 rupees, so I can put it into this company. If I put it into this company, that money is no longer with me. So the opportunity cost is what else I could have done with this money. Maybe I would have put it into a fixed deposit, maybe I could have invested into another company. So all these become my opportunity costs. So let's take the example of fixed deposit, and let us say it is giving you 5% returns. So about 1000 rupees in a year is my opportunity cost, because I could have used this money, put it into an FD, and after 1 year I would have got 1000 rupees. So this is the concept. Often people say, let us say you have decided to do MBA. So now it's a full-time program, so you are supposed to be not working elsewhere, and you should be giving your full time here. So whatever income you would have earned by working, because most of you have become graduates and you would have had some job offers, or some of you were already working and you would have had to either resign or apply for a leave, or leave without pay or something. So by doing this MBA, there is an opportunity cost. So there are two items here. One is the fee that you are paying already. So over 2 years you would be spending 3-4 lakhs, plus the cost of your expenses, books and laptop and hostel and food and all that. But then there is an element which we generally don't take into calculation, but it should be, is your opportunity cost, that you could have earned your salary, or you could have done a business, or you could have done something else with your time. And since you are not able to do that, that is a cost that is afflicting on your decisions. So it is an opportunity cost. And now your MBA better be worth it, that it not only compensates you for the amount invested, the fees and the books and all that, but also for the opportunity cost, or the opportunity is lost. So if you put everything together and find out how much your each hour of instructions, that is how much each class costs to you, you would come to a number of maybe 1000 rupees a class, or 1500 rupees per class. So you need to keep in mind, before you, next time you just log in and switch off the audio and go back to sleep. So before doing that, you should keep in mind that you are wasting about 1000 or 1500 rupees of your own money in doing that. So it is in your interest to make best use of the classes that you are sort of allotted to. Again, there is an element of sunk cost in this. There is an element of marginal cost in this, and an opportunity cost in this. So just think about what is the future differential cost for you for taking one extra class. So I'll leave you with that question, and we will resume with your doubts.